It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. The best of times, this, David Rosenberg's bar mitzvah. As good as it gets. The worst of times, the Red Sox. The Red Sox utter collapse. We have to talk about that. We just have to process that. They won Game 2 of the ALCS in Houston, and they won Game 3 in Fenway, both convincingly, and we had dreams of a World Series, and then they lost 3 in a row equally convincingly last night, 5-0, and they're out. Now, both of these moments, both of these events, the joy of David's bar mitzvah and the disappointment of the Red Sox have something very important in common. It's very important, and that is the role of momentum in our lives. And it's something that I've never actually talked about, the role of momentum in our lives. But now is the moment to talk about momentum. Momentum is that time when something gathers force, it gathers strength. You feel it's on a roll. You feel it's going somewhere when it's going somewhere. Now, the Red Sox had momentum. They didn't just win games 2 and 3. They won games 2 and 3 epically, historically. They hit 3 Grand Slam homers in those 2 games. By the way, that's more Grand Slams in 2 games than in the history of Major League Baseball. So the Red Sox had momentum. They were hitting machines, home run machines, Grand Slam machines. And then they lost. They lost their momentum. Now we have momentum right now. You can feel it. The people, the energy, the love, in person, online. We got it. How do we not lose it? All of us could use some positive momentum in our lives right now. It's been a long season for all of us. It's been a long pandemic for all of us. All of us could use a new energy, a shift in tone of our daily existence, from life as a slog to life as a celebration, from worry to joy, from disconnection to reconnection, from atomized loneliness to that feeling that we have that we're part of something holy and important. We need that change in momentum. But here's the thing that the Red Sox teach us. After Grand Slam homer, Grand Slam homer, Grand Slam homer, and then cold bats. The momentum question is actually 2 questions. Don't miss this. The momentum question is 2 questions. Don't miss this. How to get it, and once you get it, how not to lose it. The easiest thing in the world is to get momentum and lose your momentum. Read the sports pages this morning. We don't want momentum to come and go. We want momentum to grow and grow. How do we do that? Well, Ben Azai, sage in Pirkei Avot, gets us started. He says, you all know this. Mitzvah goreret mitzvah. One mitzvah produces another mitzvah. One good deed produces another. One piece of positive energy does another. In other words, Ben Azai is saying you got to start somewhere. In baseball vocabulary, start with a base hit. If you want to do a grand slam, you can't just do a grand slam. You got to get a bunch of people on base. Get a bunch of people on base. Do a bunch of base hits. Hit some singles, hit some singles, hit some singles, hit some singles. Eventually, you can get that grand slam. And that's great and that's lovely. There's just one problem. It only speaks to how to get momentum. It doesn't speak to how to keep momentum. So how do we keep momentum? So Ben Azai needs a booster shot. Here's the booster shot that Ben Azai needs. If you want the momentum to grow, if you want this to grow, what we need is momentum accountability. We need people in our lives. We need structures in our lives. We need regular commitments in our lives that invite us to hold ourselves accountable for our goals, reaching them, keeping them, growing them, perpetuating them, deepening them. Without momentum accountability, our momentum will come and go. With momentum accountability, our momentum will grow and grow, and I'm going to give you 3 examples. These are from real life. I'm struggling with my alcoholism. I want to be sober. And I just find that I keep falling off the wagon. So I join AA. What happens when I join AA? It's not just about willpower. Because if it's just about willpower, you will fall off the wagon. It's about momentum accountability. And if I belong to AA, what I sign up for is accountability structures. I got to go to meetings every week. I am a recovering alcoholic. I got to be in dialogue with a mentor. I got to become a mentor. That web, that network of relationships is how you get to be 25 years sober, how you get to be 50 years sober. It's about accountability. Okay, I want to get in shape. I just want to get in shape. So one move I could do, I could wake up early when the Spirit moves me and just start running. But how's that going to work? Instead, I could join a gym and take a class. And that class is every week. And I got people who are expecting to see me, and I got a guide at the JCC or at the YMCA or whatever gym expecting to see me. I have a buddy. I have an exercise partner. They're counting on me. And now I go, whether I want to or not, that's momentum accountability. I want to start reading more. So I never read anymore. I want to start reading more. Like all I can read is like headlines. I want to read more. I want to read books again. It's been since I was in college that I read books. I want to read again. So I could just like read whenever the Spirit moves me. How's that going to go? Or I join a monthly book group. And then people are counting on me. And they're counting on me to show up, and they're counting on me to read the book. Momentum accountability. If you want your momentum to grow, you need someone to help you hold yourself accountable. Now, I'll tell you somebody who got this very intuitively. Just love this story. There's a woman named Eleanor Love. She's a medical student in Virginia, in Richmond. And, you know, she's a medical student during the time of COVID, and the medical team just comes in and out of hospitals, and they see people so quickly, and she's not feeling that they're really seeing them, and not feeling that they're really treating the full person. They're just like treating the pathology, not the person. She wants to change the game. How can I not just treat the pathology? How can I treat the person? And I'm the youngest person on the team. And it's COVID, and there's so much anxiety, and so many patients, and so little time. So she's marinating on this question. One day she goes to a wedding of a friend, and all of a sudden, a light bulb turns on in her head. She's looking around at all these flowers, all these bouquets, roses, roses everywhere. What happens to roses? What happens to these bouquets when the wedding is over? So she just goes to her friend, the bride and groom, after the wedding and says, hey, I'm a medical student. I'm wondering, could I take the flowers after the wedding is over? And I'm going to just start repurposing your wedding flowers to patients in the hospital. It will make their day. Who could say no to that? So she just takes a bunch of bouquets. She starts delivering them to her patients. And they're so touched, overwhelmed, brightens their day. So she could have stopped. That's mitzvah goreret mitzvah. She hit some base hits there. But she wanted it to grow and grow, not to come and go. So she creates momentum, accountability, infrastructure. She starts a whole organization called the Simple Sunflower. And the Simple Sunflower has recruited literally hundreds of volunteers who work with couples, who work with wedding planners, and who fetch the flowers when the wedding is over. And hundreds of volunteers who now do this to scale in hospitals around Virginia. Thousands of patients have now gotten these flowers. And then the Simple Sunflower has been scaled nationally, replicated in many cities and many hospitals. Lots of patients are now getting repurposed flowers because she didn't just do it once. She created accountability so that it keeps on growing. Now, what would that look like here? So in honor of this, again, I want to come back to our orienting question. What we have here now, special. What we have here now is rare. What we have here now is precious. How do we not lose it? How do we build on it? How do we keep our momentum growing? In honor of David's bar mitzvah, I want to offer you two very simple ideas. They're simple, they're highly doable, and they'll make a difference. Idea number one: invite yourself to do one more Jewish thing a week. Whatever it is that you're now doing, Jewishly, do one more thing. Could be one more thing. Whatever you pick, whatever's meaningful for you, God bless. Do it. It could be baking a challah. It could be taking a class. It could be reading a Jewish book. It could be listening to a Hartman podcast about what's happening in Israel. It could be going to one more service a week, in person if you're more comfortable in person, online if you're more comfortable online. Just one more opportunity to pray, to be with people in person or virtually. Could be one move of service. Could be interpersonal. You're going to visit the sick. You're going to comfort a bereaved family. Could be a social justice project, like helping Afghan families resettle in Greater Boston. Whatever you pick that's meaningful to you will be a blessing, and that is mitzvah goreret mitzvah. That's one more thing that will get some momentum going in your life and in our lives. But then, cautionary note of the Red Sox, how do we not lose that momentum? How do we make it grow? Second idea. Please find a shul buddy, a spiritual buddy, a Jewish partner that is going to help you hold yourself accountable for your idea. So if you're going to bake a challah, maybe bake 2 challahs. Or if you're going to bake 2 challahs, bake 3 challahs and give 1 challah to a friend. If you're going to read a book, do it in our book groups. If you're going to listen to a Hartman podcast about what is happening in our beloved Eretz Yisrael today, join one of our T Connects groups. We have groups of 10, 12 people listening to these podcasts, thinking about it. If you're going to do justice work, like help Afghan families resettle, there are 170 volunteers in our community alone doing this holy work. And if you have that momentum accountability, that's going to help you stay committed to your cause and keep you growing. All that's one idea. I do have one other idea. that I think is actually a better idea than anything else that I've ever said, which is let's just do David's bar mitzvah again next week. When you think about it, David's re-bar mitzvah is a no-brainer. First of all, Elias is here anyway. Second of all, David loves to sing. Third of all, he owns the microphone. Fourth of all, we have plenty of bags. We have plenty of chumashim and plenty of Havdalah candlesticks. So Elias and David, all you got to do is go to Milton's every Monday and buy a new suit. And then all we do is just show up. So we want this momentum to grow and grow. Our two choices are do one more Jewish thing every week and find a friend to help you hold yourself accountable to your own spiritual goals. Or just show up at David's re-bar mitzvah. David, wear a new suit. Mazel tov, and we love you. We rise for Musaf.